Friends, hello. We have a very amazing guest from London, which is definitely a beautiful place. It's Nikki Owen. For me, Nikki is a very beautiful name because Nika is the god of victory. And for me, Nika is a very, it's a victory person already. And Nikki is double. Nikki is, double victory. Nikki Owen, she is a specialist in releasing the stress, is in giving power to men and women. And I'm very happy to welcome you, Nikki. My dear Nikki, first question to you is, I know that you had such a trauma, a difficult time in your life that allowed you to find inner power. What was that situation that gave you this strength?
So when I was 18, which was over 40 years ago now, I was very violent and I ended up in solitary confinement in prison because I was charged with burning down my parents' home and attempting to murder my mother. And my trial made legal history because it was the first time a hormone imbalance was used as a mitigating factor, and the judge accepted that case and I walked free. So it was a very challenging and difficult time because I looked very different. My physical appearance, I had no hair. I was self-mutilating, self-harming. I'd put on a lot of weight and I felt like a monster and I couldn't understand why I was acting in such a psychotic, mad, crazy way. But it was my father that fought for me and discovered what happened. So I think it's like anything in our lives that when we go through something that really is painful, when we go through real difficulties, I do think that we have a choice. We either give up emotionally and we become victims, or we try to use what's happened to us as a way of finding meaning and purpose. And that's what I did.
Vicky, tell me, please, this situation, it sounds like a horror movie. For me, as a film director, already when I start imagining burning the house, didn't have hair, was violent, all this sounds really like a horror film. It was a kind of disease. It was a kind of, because as I understood that you are from loving family, if your father was trying to save you, we can say it's a form of disease.
Yes, well, it is, because whenever our hormones, and this is equally relevant for men, I know a lot of your audience are male, that, we have, all sorts of issues with hormones. The amygdala, can get hijacked, and our amygdala is responsible for our emotions. And that can trigger the adrenals that then will release stress hormones. So it takes our bodies out of balance hormonally, and it creates a real emotional imbalance as well. So my dad, he saved my life, and he passed away recently. And when I asked my dad in his whole life, Dad, what are you most proud of? My dad said, saving me. And
it goes without saying, to save a child whom you love and to help. And you said that you were only 18, so you were a young lady, a young girl, and definitely it's a big trauma. How did you, Nikki, how did you manage to overcome this disaster?
Well, the first thing that happened, my dad sat me down about 2 weeks after I was released from prison, and he said to me, he said, Nicola, you've got to make a decision to choose to get well, to sort yourself out. And that's what I did. I spent 10 years trying to figure the best ways of sorting myself out. And I found therapy didn't really help me. Talking about it wasn't enough. So I became interested in neuroscience and how the brain is wired. I became interested about energy and how we can use our energy to create a shift in how we feel. I did a lot of releasing of the pain that I'd been carrying for many, many years. And I was
I'm
very...
sorry to interrupt you, Nikki. This pain, it is from your childhood, or what can make a person to want to burn the house or something? It was anger, you were hurt by somebody, you were not listened to. What was the reason of this huge anger?
So the reason my behavior was so extreme was because I experienced premenstrual syndrome, which is a cyclical behavioral change that happens in many, many women now. It doesn't just affect women, it affects, you know, their partners, their families. But the pain is pain of not being able to express myself and just feeling that I was going mad and not understanding why. So my hormones were driving me crazy. And then I think because I did so many terrible things to my family, I mutilated myself very badly. I was in hospital with 27 different stomach pumps because I tried to kill myself so many times. And I think that all of that trauma, it was just still in me, and I had to release it. Otherwise, I would never have been able to get on with my life, ever. And I did sort myself out, and the change.
Most people can see, because now I see a successful and a very, you know, cheerful lady who it's like it sounds like you are reading the book, or you know, the novel that somebody wrote for you. So it's even doesn't sound true, because you look completely different.
Yeah.
I think there was a big change. So what is your key? I know we don't have much time to go into full therapy, but if you will say like tips or something, because a lot of people now are very much stressed. There are a lot of wars. There is the tension in the news. They will say soon there will be the war, Russia, Ukraine or something. There is pandemic, so other things happening. So if you're a normal person and you love people and you watch news, 100% you will be sick only after listening all that news. What is your tips and your way you can help people to become normal, to release the stress?
Well, first of all, I think that we do have a choice about what we choose to focus our attention on. So if you choose to focus your attention on things that upset you and make you feel worried, that's not helping anything. And I think that prioritizing how we feel is absolutely essential. So I don't watch the news, and I don't watch the news because I just get distressed by it. So I know that the best way for me to help humanity, to help people that want to work with me, is I have to be in a really good, emotionally well place. Otherwise, people around me can feel it when I'm feeling stressed or anxious. So we have to take responsibilities for the way we choose to respond to different things that are happening on around us, because whether you worry or you don't worry, you can't create a change to many things that are going on in your life.
Yeah, that's why the Greek philosophers said, accept whatever you can accept, don't accept whatever you cannot accept, change whatever you can change, and don't worry about something that you cannot change, and be wise to distinguish one from another. This is exactly what you're saying about. If you cannot change, forget.
Exactly. It's exactly what I'm saying. But that is very challenging for most people because we're human beings. So I developed a number of techniques that are really powerful. They work immediately. And I created an app which is free to download. It's called the Healing Hub app. And people can go on.
Can I write it now in the comments? The Healing Hub.
The Healing Hub app. Can I just say a hi to Emma Lynch? Emma, I don't know if you're still there, but please share what you think of the techniques in the Healing Hub.
The Healing Hub app.
Yes, the Healing Hub app.
Okay.
And I do a lot of work for people totally free to help them create a release from the stress. Yes, that's correct. The Healing Hub app, it's available from Google Play. Yes, Emma says it's changed my life. I absolutely love it. Thanks, Emma. So, and it's free, and we help people a lot because I don't want people to feel like I did, when I was in my teens. I want to help people to live their best life and be free from the burden of stress and anxiety. So it feels that I think my dad would be really proud of what I'm doing now, because if I hadn't have gone through that trauma, and we do have to look at things in a much more positive way, that often the traumas we experience in life, whatever they are, small or large traumas, never give up hope, never stop finding a way to sort yourself out. But don't be a victim.
Nikki, today I received a question from a young girl, she's around 20 something. She said, my health is very bad. She has some disease and it's related with breathing. And I know that you have a lot of things about breathing, and you were saying about asthma. And she said, yes, why I am born not like everybody else? Why the God made me weaker? Why the God made me sick? And you, all other people, you will not understand me because you are not sick and I am sick. So you should suffer like me suffer to understand me. And I feel a lot of bitterness. When people are sick, they think why I am sick and you are not sick, which is quite logical to think, but it's sad to listen to that. So you think, you want me to be sick? It's not fair. What you will recommend to people whose health is not perfect?
Well, none of us have perfect health throughout our life, because the human condition is that we are going to always suffer. So from the moment you're born, you start aging and experiencing emotional and physical pain. And therefore, if your emotions are hurting you, our breath starts to shift, our cellular biology changes, which lowers the immune system, and it affects our physical health. Our mind and body are totally integrated. And if somebody is in what I call victim mode, and I'm very caring, but wallowing in their own self-pity and being bitter, is just damaging their health even more. So one of the ways is to use the breath to shift the pain that the individual is holding onto in their body, so that the body can relax and the breath can go deeper, that oxygenates our blood system, and we can feel more expanded. And it's about making friends with what life has dealt us. And sometimes life has been really cruel to so many people, but we have to allow and support ourselves to look at what we can do about that. How can we be a force for good, rather than just be very impotent in our ability to create change? Because we can never create change when we believe that just bad stuff happens. And it really is so important to change that mindset. That young woman is never going to be able to feel empowered to change. And miracles happen every single day. And if you're open for a miracle, you can create extraordinary transformations in your body. If you'd have seen me when I was 18, I was destined to die very young. I was told that I would be institutionalized for the rest of my life. And my parents were told to forget their daughter. So
Nikki, are you the only child in the family?
No, I have a younger brother and sister who were also traumatized by, their older sister, being very violent. And, my poor brother, when the house burnt down, all his fish that he kept in his fish tank died. And all the possessions in the house just went overnight.
When I look at you, a person who is that soft and that teaching, being not violent and breathe and expand your breathing, it sounds like, like fairy tale, almost like you're saying. But
it is. I'm just trying to see if I've got my book to show you.
Please.
I have lots of books that I've written since, and my autobiography is out of print now. But and I don't know where it's gone, but hold on 1 minute.
Yes.
So that was the story of me. I looked.
A second chance to live.
A second chance to live, but it's out of print now. I wrote it years ago, and Yes, it's very, very strange. I'm just seeing if I can find any pictures, because I wouldn't be photographed when I was really ill. But this is can you see that this is a letter I wrote in prison, in Holloway prison, a very famous prison. That's the house I burnt down.
Oh my
that has
God.
been rebuilt. And that's me there 6 months after release from prison.
It's like a different person, different life, different book, different, you know, like as if you go to other planet, then come back. Nikki, what do you think to overcome that very difficult situation? One of the things that you mentioned is not to be the victim. The second one is to breathe, to expand. And I saw one of your videos. You said that you were breathing actually very, very fast. I think you become hot. This is the very speedy breathing. What it can give us?
Yes. So when you use open mouth breath work, is that it's the quickest way to transport vast quantities of oxygen into your bloodstream that causes the tightness in your body to soften. And then you use primal releasing techniques. It is a bit crazy to look at. This is why you always do this on your own at
Definitely.
home. No one can
Yes,
see.
I saw it. It looked like something happened to you. Yes, and you're in shock. Yes, I understand.
But the breath and the releasing, and we use neuroscience inspired technology to rewire your thinking while you're doing it. So people say that they feel totally different, that emotions such as depression, anger, fear, anxiety, stress, and they start to feel a connection with their true self, their power in them, their strength, their courage. And so many, I mean, Emma, bless her, she's, you know, I mean, she's been working with these techniques now for over a year. And she's just much more grounded. She's she's got more confident now. She's more grounded in who she is. And, but this is true on thousands of people I've helped.
You recommend to do this breathing, Nikki, to do it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, to do it when you feel hurt or when you're afraid? Like, what is the time for that?
Well, the best time to do it is first thing in the morning for 5 minutes, and people can download the app and I demonstrate how to do it. And it's to music, which my family compose. So all my family are involved in the creation and the compositions of the music.
Who is in your family? Tell me, please. Are you married? Do you have kids?
So I have a beautiful daughter called Rosie that sings on the tracks, and she's a miracle. And then I've got my 2 nephews involved who are both on the autistic spectrum, and they are just musical geniuses. And then my sister's involved. She trained as a classical pianist, so she composes and performs on the tracks. I've got my niece involved because she sings on the tracks. So everyone
you involved all the family and all the people around you. They take part in your app, the Healing Hub, and you try to save the world and to help yourself as well. Yes. And as my final question to you, what do you think? You have such a difficult childhood, and you even not make it difficult for you, but for all people who loved you. What do you think by now? What is your biggest achievement, and why the God give you this difficult beginning of life? What is the reason? Because I believe that there should be the reason behind anything. Your beginning of your life was extremely complicated, I will say. What do you think yourself? Why?
I think it's because I chose to find meaning from what I'd gone through. And I chose to not be a victim, because if I'd have gone down that path, I wouldn't have done anything. And, you know, one of my greatest achievements, and there are many, I mean, my daughter, to have a daughter, I was told I could never have children. And my daughter is the most beautiful, gifted, loving, warm young woman. And I feel incredibly proud. And the fact that my family really trusts me and come to me to help them. And I just feel that in my own small way, that the work I'm doing is helping other people to just make them feel a little bit better in their life. So when I look back on that time, I can't feel angry about it because my whole life changed a result. If I hadn't have gone through that, I would have been precocious, full of myself. I wouldn't have been very humble or kind or compassionate. I'd have probably been in a very boring job, you know, married to a very boring man and living a very conventional life. But I've done extraordinary work and I've been and experienced life in a way that I have no fear in me anymore, because when you faced a life sentence, the real possibility of a life behind bars, nothing scares me now. You know, and I think when you've got that unshakable belief, then the universe or God or whatever we call to choose it, I think that the planet we live is a beautiful place. There is lots of love. There is lots of human kindness everywhere. And so therefore look for the beautiful people, the people with hearts that want to help, the people who have compassion. And because the more we care about each other, and this is why it's so upsetting to witness what's going on at the moment in the world with the need to manipulate, the power, the division that's occurring, when we can look at other people through the eyes of love and compassion, then we could change the world together. And if that message touches just one person watching this, then it's been a worthwhile interview for me.
Nikki, you know, you surprised me very much because honestly, I took maybe 300 interviews, 400 interviews, and I never really met somebody who is telling these shocking things, what you told me in the beginning, because to spend all your life behind bars, it sounds like a really Chikatilo thriller, you know, something. But the thing that you managed out of this terrible situation, dramatic situation, to make a big plus, not to give up, not to finish your life, to stand up, to find the power, and even not do it only for yourself, but to create this app. I want to repeat this name again. For people who are in a difficult situation or who need support, the Healing Hub application, it is for those who want to use the breathing technique to help themselves. Because I lived and I worked many years with Japanese people. I was a diplomat, Russian diplomat in Japan. And my Japanese teachers, they told me that breathing is everything. Maybe you noticed that Japanese businessmen, Japanese, you know, warriors, they are never anxious. They're never running. It's only happening in the West. People are very excited. They're very late. They say, oh, I cannot talk with you on the phone. I'm right. No, these people, they're very wise. They always have time. They have time to talk. They have time to think. And the technique behind is breathing. They start the day with breathing. They told me, if you have difficult negotiation, go out, breathe 5 minutes, nobody will notice. You go to the bathroom, come back, and take decision after breathing. You're the same person, but you're a different person. That's why what you created, I think it's very important, because it gives power, it gives light, and it gives a new chance to start the life from the beginning. So I will say what you see, Emma is writing, this app will change your life. I do breathing space every morning, and it helps make you feel so good. That's why I will be happy if people will try it. Definitely it will do nothing bad. It's not, we are not talking about
and also
drinking some, you know, drinking Red Bull every day. No, this is something
because we need to get the cortisol and the adrenaline out of people's body, because that's what's creating the anxiety. And these are powerful techniques. And if people download the app, they can interact with me in the app. I'm always there supporting even on a one-to-one basis, as much as I can. We've got thousands of members now, but I always respond to every question and query. I think Emma has been wonderful because she's just, I did not know Emma was coming on this interview, so it's lovely. And I just want to welcome as well MD Shezi, because it's lovely. He's given a thumbs up as well, which is nice.
Thank you so much. And Nikki, thank you so much for sharing the story, because you are a very brave person. To share that, you need to be brave and you need to be open. And thank you for helping people. It was a big honor to know you. Good luck. Stay young, stay strong, and create beautiful things.
Thank you.